One of the reasons I love football, and there's a lot of reasons I love football, but one of the reasons I love it is it's a camaraderie. It's a family. It's a community. And I'm watching this last night, and I'm thinking to myself, Belichick and Brady and Edelman and everybody's busting on everybody. You couldn't do that in the NBA. There's just too many egos. Rudy Gobert had a great line this weekend. He talked about the Timberwolves, and he said, I've been in this league a long time. I've never been part of a group that cares about each other and wants to see other people shine. It's hard to get that in the NBA. It's not in the NFL. You see it every Sunday. It's not about getting mine. It's about getting ours. And that's why you can host that roast last night. The greatest coach of all time and the greatest football player of all time. And people took shots at them for 3.5 hours. And maybe it's due to the regulated level of violence that you need protection. You need an ally. But when you see a football player get hurt, hopefully not seriously, sometimes seriously, but when they get hurt, you see players go to a knee. Some start crying. They start praying. That's authentic. That's how football works. It's bonding. It's sacrifice. It's family. I thought it was a great night for Belichick. I'll get into that after the break. But I thought last night is why I love football, is that the best coach, the best quarterback, and some of it was cringy, some of it you don't want around your kids, but I did think there's been a lot of tension around Belichick and Brady, and there's just tension all around the room, and you throw Kraft in there. I thought some of it was broken last night, a little bit lightened up last night, and I get it. The Shaq and Kobe dynasties, I get it. It's intense. People, the heels breaks up. Feelings are hurt. But I thought last night mattered. I think this is why football's great, that people can laugh at themselves. It's not about getting yours. It's about getting ours. That is perfect last night. We'll have more of it throughout the day. But I'm serious about this. I think there's a lot of reasons I like football. It's the best sport on television. You can bet it. My wife would watch a football game. It's once a week. There's a scarcity advantage, all of it. But I think another big part of this is it's a collection. I sat on a plane yesterday flying back from Salt Lake City, and I sat next to a gentleman, very successful gentleman, who is now an unpaid football coach. He does that part-time. For his kids, for the community, he cares, he loves it, he doesn't have to do it, and I really respect that. It's about ours, not mine. All right, speaking of the NBA, Anthony Edwards he was in a really bad draft, and he was the only really great player, I think, out of a bad draft. And he's been in Minnesota, and Kevin Garnett was in Minnesota for a long time, and then eventually had to leave to get a championship with the Boston Celtics. And Minnesota's always been a franchise that has some really interesting players, but, they got to get out of there to win. And I think it's always an advantage if you can stay, a Kobe Bryant, a Derek Jeter, where you can just stay in your place and win forever. I'm not anti-mobility. I'm all for mobility. In baseball, there's just a handful of franchises that can spend big money. Yankees, Dodgers, Braves, Astros. A lot of these franchises, you got to go there to win championships if you really care about championships. As good as the Minnesota Twins may be run, or as great as the city is, you paid Joe Mauer 20 years ago, and you can't pay anybody else. And in the NBA, there are some glamour franchises. The face of the league has overwhelmingly been like Philadelphia, Boston, L.A., maybe a Miami. It doesn't end up in Cleveland much. LeBron James, who was a star when he was 16, changed that. So can Anthony Edwards be the face of the NBA, a league that's increasingly international and is dying for a face of the NBA because KD, LeBron, and Steph are out of the playoffs, and that's not good. And I said it a couple of weeks ago. Are we at an inflection point here? Does he want to be MJ? Or does he want to be Neek? And to be MJ, you got to embrace face of the league, and you got to win several titles. One will not do. Barkley was great, never the face of the league. And the West is deep, and it's loaded, it's young, and the teams are all getting better. Now, it took MJ years to break through the Pistons and the Celtics. And I'm watching Minnesota beat Denver in Denver, and I'm thinking, at 22 years old, is this kid breaking through? He's got several things that remind me of Michael Jordan. He's got that relentless energy. Like Jordan could play 36 holes of golf and then beat the Celtics later that night. This kid's got energy that's hard to duplicate. And the second thing is he has an attack personality. Jason Tatum's a nice kid. Ant wants to dunk on you and talk trash to you and guard the best guy. And that's very, very MJ, and it's very attractive. We like our athletes to be aggressive. So, there's not that many. When you go back to the 70s, there's not that many NBA icons. There's been a lot of great players, but the icons generally look different and play different. I mean, Shaq's power, Magic's size at point guard, Larry Bird's passing and shooting. He was a forward. When I watched basketball in the 70s, forwards couldn't shoot. Larry Bird walked into the league and was the best shooter and the best passer, and he was a forward. Michael Jordan's relentlessness and style and aesthetics. And Ant Edwards has a lot of that. He will dunk sometime during the game, and you'll go, wow, and then he'll often say something relatable and funny after the game. And it's not that I doubt him. I said this a week ago. I think we're at an inflection point. The league is looking for a face in the league. A lot of the international guys don't want to necessarily be there. It helps to play college basketball a little. We meet you there. I thought it could have been Zion years ago. No. Ja Morant maybe. No. It looks like at 22 years old, Ant Edwards could be the guy. He doesn't have to win this series. He does not have to win now. He's so young. But I did watch the game this weekend, and I thought, oh, he's easily the best player on the floor. Jokic didn't play well. Jokic did not play well. I'm sure he'll rebound, though Minnesota's so big, they'll make it tough for him. A lot of fun. He was absolutely the best player on the floor in that game. 25 in the first half. Took a little break in the third quarter. That's okay. He's human. He can't play at that level the entire game. But when it was over, I thought to myself, okay, I still like Denver, but, man, they're not going to have an answer athletically. They don't really have an answer for Ant. They've got a little bit – Minnesota got a little bit of an answer for Jokic because of their size. Denver doesn't really have an answer for Ant. And that was always the thing with Jordan, is that, you could have answers for a lot of the things the Bulls did, but if Michael went relentless, where the steam's coming off his head like twice a game, nobody in the league had an answer for it. Other teams had great off.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.